All right, so I was sitting with Mello eating lunch this afternoon, or this morning, I guess you would call it. It seems like morning turned into afternoon because the line was so long at the place that it felt like they told us 5 to 10 minutes. And suddenly, every Tom, Dick, and Jerry in town was surrounding us in the lobby. And so we waited and waited and waited, and we finally got a table, and then we waited forever to get our food. And the whole time we were talking about this channel. And what I was getting from her was that my content is starting to get a bit repetitive. And in that same sense, let me ask you this. When you turn on the news every day, isn't it repetitive? Isn't everything that CNN says every single day the same thing? The weather hardly ever changes. There's always going to be a killer storm. There's always going to be people getting murked. Business is either going to be crashing, getting worse. The epic economist is going to tell you that things are getting bad. I mean, he posted about a guy who contacted him who has submitted 900 resumes after graduating from college and still hasn't found a job and is wondering when he's going to grow up, which for a lot of Gen Z means that they're never going to grow up. Because even if they do find a job, it's not going to be the job that they actually need. Most of us can't find the job that we need because it doesn't exist. Therefore, we're stuck at Mickey Mouse University for an entire lifetime. I can honestly tell you guys, I spent my entire life working and I've never had a good job. Not even remotely close. Why? Because they aren't for people like us. We're the incredible dancing proletariat that can't do anything but fail at life. So when I got home from the gym from the second time today, I was thinking to myself, how do I make my content more varied? And when I asked ChatGPT this question, it said simple. Go back and forth between topics that are directly related to you and then broader systemic problems with our society. When I asked it to create a topic in the vision of this channel, it created it it created this title, Why Capitalism Runs Like Malware. I haven't read any part of this script yet, so you guys are going to join me now in getting into this particular video. You ever notice how life feels like you accidentally downloaded a virus at birth? You clock in, update your work ethic, and somehow your bank account still looks like it's running on Windows 95. Capitalism sells itself like antivirus software, promising protection, but it's the thing actually infecting you. And the best part is, you can't uninstall it. That's actually pretty good. I like that. You can't uninstall capitalism even though it hurts the vast majority of the population. If you don't own capital, if you can't buy homes and you can't buy stocks and you can't buy the things that rich people own, then you will never own anything. You will be owned by the capitalists. The capitalist owns your home, your car, and even offers you employment. Because what does a capitalist say when they offer you a job? At least you have a job. Or you should be grateful to have a job, because there are millions of people out there who either are underemployed, employed part-time, or are making minimum wage or close to it, or flat out can't find a job. If you submit hundreds of resumes and you can't find a job, then this economy isn't working for you. The malware that is capitalism is definitely affecting your system, and you can't circumvent it. You can't install a new hard drive and put a new operating system on it and say, you know what, this time I'm not installing capitalism, even though it tells me that I need it to run a healthy economy. Because capitalism doesn't work. And it never has. But they'll convince you of it every single day. Every day that I get a comment in my comment section about if I'm a socialist, am I a communist? I don't believe in anything other than helping people. That's why this channel exists. I want you to stop closing your eyes and shoving toxic positivity in your tailpipe and look around you. Look around at all the people that don't have anything. Remember, you will own nothing and be happy. And to that extent, they got to make you believe in this system, that somehow it is working for you. But then you scratch your rear end and you ask, well, why am I still poor? If capitalism is so great and we live in the greatest country in the world, why am I still poor? In fact, today we were driving back from somewhere. Oh, we were driving back from the restaurant and we were sitting at a light and I said to Mello, isn't it great to live in a first world country? And then I look over at a man laying in the Arizona heat on the sidewalk sleeping at a bus stop. And she says to me, oh my God, Millennial Stain. And I'm like, yeah, it's hot. And that guy has nowhere to be. And then she goes and she says, every time I see a homeless person, I try to get them some water and something to eat and give them $5. That's a tough nut for someone that doesn't make a lot. I mean, she makes a lot more than she used to when she worked in retail, but she doesn't make that much more. But Mello's really, she's very kind. And to that extent, I don't know what else to say other than sometimes she says some really, some really strange things. Like, I asked her this morning if I should flush my fish down the toilet if I become homeless because I get laid off or I lose my job or something happens and I become homeless. I can no longer take care of my pets. And I told her that my plan was either to flush him down the toilet or drop him off in the lake, which are both equally terrible things for a betta fish. And she's like, nope, he's coming with me. That's what she said. Anyhow, let's move on to talking point number one. You ever notice how every solution feels like a cosmetic update? A 30-cent raise, a pizza party, maybe a mental health webinar while you're drowning in bills. The truth is, you're not defective. This whole system was programmed with bugs on purpose because your exhaustion is their business model. That's what I don't get. They don't understand that 30 cents an hour raise is not going to do anything for you other than cause you to fall further and further behind. What does 30 cents look like on a paycheck? It's not very much. I mean, if you look at it, what is it? An extra $12 a week or something? It was even more ridiculous when I worked at Walmart. It's like, okay, we're giving you a raise, and you look at your next paycheck, and it actually went down because you now have to pay more taxes. And you're like, thanks a lot. Thanks for helping me out. But it's their way of saying we don't have it, right? That's every corporation in America will pull their pockets out of their pants and tell you, sorry, we don't have it. While simultaneously publishing that they made record profits this year. And the CEO and everyone who is an executive gets to make another yacht payment while you work over the fryolator in 110-degree heat while you feel like you're melting inside of there. If you've ever had to work in front of a hot stove in Arizona in August where it's 110 degrees and the humidity is causing you to melt in your own dew, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. But what is absolutely true is the bugs that were built into the programming, well, they're there so that you can't escape. Whether you think you're escaping by leaving one restaurant to go work in a warehouse, to go work in construction, wherever you go, poverty follows you around like that dark cloud that never stops raining on you. Because there is no escape. Things can't get better because the programming that created this system won't let it. It's like there's walls, there's invisible walls every time the proletariat doesn't like the version of life that they're getting. Their experience in life is very much so like a cage. The same reason why I call my neighborhood Cell Block B. You may not want to live in this area. You may not even want to live in this state. But the reality is, what money do you have to move? Today, the Epic Economist was talking about how people need to have a lot of money saved up because something bad's going to happen. What happens if the company you work for goes under? What happens if you get laid off? What happens if you get fired because they want to pay someone half of what you make in order to do your job? Well, you fail at life. You will be the person who's sleeping at the bus stop in 110-degree weather. And you better believe you're going to need someone out there who's going to hand you a water bottle before you bite it. And sometimes Mello's not going to be there. Talking point number two. You don't get a paycheck. You get a trial extension on rent, groceries, and gas until the next billing cycle. And just like Netflix, the prices keeps going up while the content gets worse. The joke, you're paying for life like it's a monthly subscription and somehow you still get ads shoved in your face. It is very true. Anytime you go to the gas station, I normally pay $20 a week for gas. Today it was 28. The electric bill has gone up from 15 to 20% more from month to month. Why? I don't know. I mean, honestly, when it comes to changes in prices, what's the difference between last month and this month? To us, the proletariat, nothing's changed. We're still going to the same crummy places to get money. Pound Town is always hiring when it comes to exploitation. Exploitation is this world. If you're not rich, you're being exploited to make someone else rich. Every morning that you wake up, you're waking up to make certain that someone else has more money than you do. And at the end of the week, when you get your paycheck, it's gone before you even can check your bank account. Why? Because no bill stops coming in just because you can't afford to pay it. Your monthly internet bill, your cell phone bill, your grocery store bill, those are forever. And that to me equals a lifetime sentence to paying your bills. Because if you don't want to pay your bills, there's only one place that you will go to, and that is the street. There's no other place for you to go to. If you don't have a family that has the resources to take care of you, if you fall down, the only place you will end up is the street. We have a homeless population that is growing in real time, and no one in the mainstream media is covering that. Why are there so many young homeless people out there right now? I see fresh homeless nearly every day in the city. And these are people that fell behind on their rent, and Arizona is incredibly quick to kick you out. Within 5 to 10 days, they're already processing an eviction. It's no joke. You can't lose your job and be fine. Because if you're on this channel, and again, I say, just like with the millions of other people, you don't have the savings account to be able to last 6 months. You have enough savings in order to get you from one paycheck to the next. That's it. And that's the vast majority of people in this country because you're not being paid enough in order to have a savings account. Because in America, you can spend 60, 70, 80% of your income just to be able to put a roof over your head. And that's it. The rest of your life is miserable as hell because it's programmed that way. They can't have too many winners because the money has to be stored at the top. And the trickle down is them shooting yellow liquid at you that's very salty and warm. And every time you wait for some trickle down from the top, all you get is that warm yellow trickle down. And we all know what it is. And we want to get out of the way of the trickle down. No one wants to smell like that. I mean, I just went to the bathroom and it was a super dark color of brown. And that might be the trickle down that I get. That may have fallen on my head this morning when I woke up and I wondered if I was going to get some of that trickle down economics that is constantly being told that is happening all the time in the economy. Just wait. Just wait to get your trickle down. But you know what? I'm tired of waiting for lemonade. All right. Let's move on to talking point number 3. So yeah, capitalism doesn't just run like malware. It is the malware, draining your energy, hijacking your time, and convincing you that the lag is your fault. The crash was never you. It was the system. And until we debug it together, all we can do is laugh at the irony that the only truly free trial in the economy was being born. That's the problem in a society, in a world like ours. We don't choose to be born. And it was something Mello said to me this morning. It's like, Millennial Steam, you come from nothing. Literally nothing. First generation immigrant, no English, parents that were worthless, an entire world that was hell-bent on making certain that you failed. And guess what? I failed, and I failed in the wrong direction. I feel like I kicked sideways when I failed. Because on paper, I shouldn't have failed. And when people ask me, why do you have so much education and why are you a failure? It's because I never intended to live this life. I never intended to work at McDonald's. My trajectory, in my opinion, was going straight into grad school and spending the rest of my life teaching university courses at the university. That was how I planned my life. That's not the life I got. Was I destined to fail from the very beginning? Most people would say yes. Because when you don't come from a family that offers you a foundation and you have to build every single part of your world on your own with no parents, no friends, no nothing. It's just you against the world. The odds stacked against you are so high that there are outliers that win, of course. And they put these people up on a pedestal. It's like, look, so and so from the hood worked overnight at a warehouse while they took classes at their community college, eventually went on to university, and then got a full ride scholarship to go to an Ivy League school, and now they're successful. But what about everyone else? What about all the other people that bought the same lottery ticket, but they lost? Look at how many losers there are in the lottery every week. There isn't a winner in the lottery every week, just like there isn't a winner in the proletariat. Sometimes you can apply to hundreds of jobs and never get a job you don't want. And that's the same way with the lottery. You can keep buying loser lottery tickets and hope that things get better. But if that's your only option to try and escape the life that was a sentence to you, right? There's not much you can do once you've tried everything in order to better your life. I've seen the Gen Z workers. These are people who are struggling to the nth degree. And it's not like they're not trying. It's just that they're failing at a rate that is unprecedented because the system created a world in which it is not equitable for everyone. It is not fair, and it never was designed to be fair. Sometimes you can just look at the color of your skin and wonder, uh-oh, you know what? I'm not exactly the right color to be successful. And some people will say, well, that's just a cop-out. You don't want to try. Are you saying that every one of the proletariat is just not trying hard enough? People who work the hardest get paid the least. People who do the jobs that are too hard for regular people to do, they work very hard for practically nothing. I know those people because they were my parents. And back when my parents were raising their children, life was much easier. You could work part-time if you wanted to and still live. Now you're expected to work a triple job and still scrape by. Survival mode in our current time is nearly impossible because the life that you can afford right now is the life that you don't want. All right, let's see.